Pluto and the Sun move into Aquarius on the 20th this week, and this marks the end of an era of control and power for the sake of power and control, rather than for the sake of positive transformation. It's now time to empower the givers, to put the power back in the hands of those who want to wield their power to help save the world. Being rich to show off and make people feel bad about themselves is now understood for what it truly is, which is toxic. Being powerful to help save life, all life, is why we are here, and why the givers are being empowered once again to help save the world. The last time Pluto was at this degree was the American Revolution in 1778, when power was being shifted back to the people in America. The shift was short-lived, and the dark did quickly reclaim their stranglehold on our society by the end of the Civil War. But for a short time, we the people were living free, and the time for that to happen again is upon us. So as a heads up to my viewers, I wanted to share that this week is a big week for staying in your power. If someone tries to upset you, don't let them. If something tries to make you irrationally fearful, don't let it. If something tries to evoke you into cruelty, ignore it. And I'll be reminding myself of this too. Remember, I'm not what you think I am. You are what you think I am. So I'm wishing you all protection this week and the power to embody who you really are. This week is about embodying new patterns that represent a new version of you. So in a nutshell, the planets are supporting the same transference of power that took place back then. So for those of us who are yearning to be free, both internally and externally, the planets are supporting us. And once power is transferred back to the people this time, it will stick and stay. Because now we have an overwhelming awareness that the dark is real. We understand their dark patterns because we've learned to understand our own dark patterns. And now that we have this deeper awareness, evil won't be permitted to rise again in the short order it has done in the past. And so let's pause and look beneath the veneer of the phrase American Revolution and understand at a fundamental level that though history will show our true freedom was short-lived, it was the last time the debt slavery model was overthrown in this country, until it was reinstated after the U.S. was plunged back into debt after the end of the U.S. Civil War in 1865. Having said this, it does appear that the debt slavery model has the potential, at least, based on the alignment of the planets and other systems that have allegedly been put in place, to be abolished once again, returning financial freedom back to the people. But we'll see about that. In the meantime, there's no sense waiting around for the world to do the right thing. Better to just begin doing it ourselves. And this is us getting into the solutions that we want to see. The time for asking permission to do what's right is over. It's time to be assumptive about our right to be here, and indeed our duty to be here as the protectors of all living things on our planet. No more asking permission to live here. This is our planet, and it's time for us to act and behave accordingly. Those who are still apologizing for their existence have a steep hill to climb. And this is why we're here, healing and powering up now, so we can be there for them when their bubbles pop. So we all know there's an unseen force leveraging fear, inadequacy, accusations, shame, ridicule, anger, and the threat of death that has kept us believing we're not who we really are. And who we really are is below no one or no thing. We're equal to or above all things, which is why we're here, to help protect all life. We are the guardians of this planet, not the stowaways. That is all I truly know of who we are, and that's all I really need to know. You've heard me say it before, but just in case you missed it, the world isn't supposed to be this fucked up. We are beings of love and harmony who've been trapped under some dome, surviving a real-life version of the Hunger Games. And this was done on purpose. And while slings and arrows have followed us all our days, we continue to seek love and compassion for all life. This is what the dark cannot and will not ever understand about us. Because we care unconditionally for each other despite how hard the dark tries to turn us against each other. But now that we're clear it's everywhere, and it needs to be reversed, we can proceed. And until you proclaim you're not the victim, you will be the victim. And as we're watching unfold in the narrative right now, when the victims go unhealed, they become evil themselves, and wind up working for the people who injured them in the first place. And so for 4 years now, you've heard me focus on creating awareness. Awareness that there are underlying patterns pulling the strings in our lives. Awareness that it is the response to these patterns that gives us power over them, or takes away our power depending on our response. And because the awareness stage is the longest stage, we had to endure. I sometimes feel like I've been sent back to collect more and to make more aware before we could be allowed to move forward, to not give up on the fallen, who just needed a little more time to stand up and be guided across the finish line. Maybe you felt this way too. So the bad things that happened to us all were not arbitrary or random. We understand the fact that our families have been trapped in a 1,000-year cycle of generational trauma intentionally. So now that we know this, we're free to dive into the solution. This is the phase we realize that the word work is actually a misnomer for the word progress. The phase where we begin to understand the word work is progress. And as we work on our progress, we begin to experience life in a new way. We will know inner peace and acceptance perhaps for the first time since we were originally wounded. So unlike awareness, which is the aggregate of all known information until now, to arrive upon the conclusion that my life has become unmanageable, the solution is about living a higher vibrational life, to be happier, to smile more, to have faith that we will always be just fine, to allow the heart to come forward and take back command of your decisions. It's time to be guided by our hearts, not our egos. We transmute the dark so we can go higher and see life from a higher point of view. And it's time to start doing that. Because when I transmute from dark to light, all the darkness around me becomes light as well. And the same is true for you too. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.